We're at the IAS meeting with Jane Ferguson, who's with ViiV, paid for through a grant with ViiV Healthcare. But you're through the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. And that organization has done a lot in HIV work. I mean, it's a big thing. Peter Piat, like you said, is director of that. So to kind of give a little background on what you're doing now in this new project.
Sure. Thanks for the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about it. So ViiV has a series of positive action programs, and one of them is on adolescents, and that's what they funded the London School to put me at the Africa Centre for Population Health, which is a research centre in Matubatuba, 2.5 hours from Durban, rural KZN, to initiate some research and capacity development activities on related to adolescents and HIV and other subjects as well. So it's originally is a 2-year grant, and we've just started. We're just about finishing our first year and have started to get some things. Things take some time to get up and going. So that's what.
The work you're doing will be capacity building, and then once you learn what you have to do for adolescents, and that would be ages.
So we use the WHO definition, which is 10 to 19. Okay. Sometimes, of course, you're wanting to kind of go a little bit older than that, kind of up to 24 for some kinds of interventions as well, but we're focusing on kind of 10 to 19 years.
Right, and then they have pre-adolescent and they have post.
Yeah, pre-adolescent.
Post
pre and post.
Pediatrics. But does this inform other projects down the line?
So we're doing some formative research first. The Africa Centre has been doing observational research for the past 20 years, over 20 years. They've been going out into the community, approximately 100,000 people in the community, regularly to do behavioral surveys, finding out about what kinds of conditions they live in, education, family size, births, deaths, those kinds of things. Plus, they've been doing HIV testing. So they've got a very good sense of what the epidemic is, how people are doing there.
And
so it's very high. It's a very high prevalence area in terms of adolescents.
Right.
For 15 to 19-year-old girls, the incidence is 6%.
And then there's all those issues around the virginity and so forth.
Absolutely. So, of course, with the adolescent population generally in South Africa and in other countries, there's both those who are infected at birth and those who are horizontally infected during adolescence as well. And in the area where we live, it's the district of Mkunyikada, and this is a very rural district, one of the poorest districts in the country. The health services are delivered by primarily nurse-led clinics, and overburdened, I must say, with treatment, and dealing with many people coming for treatment. Adolescents don't use services kind of generally, but they also don't there, we don't think. So, but some of the research that we're starting to do is we're doing a series of studies, and one of the studies is about health services and looking at what is the demand for health services, what adolescents, what do they need them for, what do they want them for, what do they think about them, and also from the provider side as well. So that's one of the studies that we're starting. We're doing a couple of studies that we're going out and talking to the community of adolescents themselves. One, to see the population moves a lot, young people move, and in this district they move a lot as well. And so how does that affect their risk behavior? Across the board, again, not just sexual risk behavior, but and how they form relationships, etc. And then another study that's being the principal investigator is someone from Durban, from the HSRC, is looking at hope and how do adolescents perceive their environment, their lives at the moment, and are they hopeful, are they happy, and how does that affect, again, what they're thinking about and their behaviors as well. So those are 3 studies that we're doing. And then we're doing some kind of more epidemiological studies, one which is going to be looking at the incidence of TB among adolescents. So this is something we don't know. We have no idea. And I'll come back to that in a minute. And then another one in terms of sexually transmitted infections, to try to estimate the prevalence of a range of sexually transmitted infections, I mean, apart from HIV, and also look at the acceptability of doing the tests to determine that at a population base among adolescent boys and girls. So, and so that's the set of studies that we're doing at the moment, and that's really to inform us about adolescents in the population, and that will inform the health, district health people and other researchers then to be saying, okay, now what do we do to improve the situation, and hopefully do some action research, intervention research.
In the context of while you're doing this,
yes.
Will you be doing any prevention education?
So we're also, kind of VIV is funding us to do these studies, but because we're now doing some work in adolescents, and because of the district that we're living in, we've attracted other activities. So the DREAMS initiative, you know about,
right.
Yes, the DREAMS initiative has now decided to also have activities in the district as well. And the London School, not myself, but the London School has a team of people who will actually be evaluating in our district how DREAMS is happening. So that's really important, clearly, the impact of it. We've also been asked to help support the implementation of DREAMS too, because we have capacity in our centre to do that. And then I think that there is some discussion, it's still not kind of finalized, but there is some discussion on doing, in 3 sites in South Africa, including ours, the introduction of PrEP to adolescents. And so with that, so there's 2 other sites. There's one, the PRHU in Johannesburg and Soweto, and the Desmond Tutu Centre in Cape Town. Those other 2 are quite established. They've got quite established adolescent services already. We don't. So we're really starting from scratch. And so one of the things that we're going to do is we're kind of out trying to think about what are we going to do in the community, so with young people, and get young people to help us to deliver some interventions. So
you bring them in to do.
So we're just thinking about it at
Yeah.
the moment, and we're trying to link up with things that are already existing, not only at the community, but you might also know Love Life. So Love Life has has been around for quite some time, and has had the Department of Health and the Department of Social Development also supports them, I think, kind of gets them to run programs in different places. And so we want to help, we're asking them, some young people that work with them, to help us think about at the community level what kinds of opportunities might there be in the community to do some, well, I'm calling it Love Life Light at the moment. We're just starting to have those kinds of discussions with them, because my experience of what they've been doing with young people is absolutely empowering young people. I mean, there's other things going on in the country as well, but that's at least kind of countrywide. And
if it can be ground up, it's always better.
Well, certainly ground up, and also in terms of the PrEP itself, and of course the testing that needs to be done pre-PrEP has to be done at clinic level. So we're going to have to be helping the clinics do what they're already trying to do in terms of, adolescent-friendly services.
Just add a little support.
Add some support, yeah. So we're just designing that at the moment. UNICEF South Africa, of course, is supporting us to do this with funding from Unitaid. So those are some of the things that we've just started generating in the past 8 months.
Well, it seems like you've got a full plate.
Yeah. Overflowing.
But I think it's always good to, like you're doing, nest things, not repeat, not replicate. I mean, being able to replicate your project somewhere else.
If it works.
If it works.
Yeah.
But not to replicate services within an area.
Yeah.
And I think that's very good. And you seem to have gotten the really important areas, the Soweto out by Johannesburg and Cape Town and here.
That's not our choice, but we were selected to, and there's different challenges, for young people in these different areas. So
right, just clearly, to see that you're being able to see the same things in all the areas.
Yeah.
Seems very good.
Yeah. So of course the South African government is very pro-adolescents, pro-youth. They've been doing a lot. There's a new youth policy. There's development of a new adolescent health policy. And then they've just launched a big campaign on adolescent girls and young women too. which mirrors lots of these things. That's also quite youth-led, I think. It's just kind of in its starting stages. There's been some sessions on it here at the conference. So it's a really exciting, well, for me, so I've been in adolescent health all my life, so it's a very, very exciting time to be here.
Youth today seem to be so enormously ahead of the curve. And I think it's all because of this media that we've got going on today.
Certainly media, and I think that their voices are gradually being heard more, and they're given opportunities and support.
They're going to be the future leaders.
They are. Well, they're the leaders now as well, but they're absolutely. So but they need to stay AIDS-free and TB-free, and they need to have access to, as we're trying to do, secondary education.
They will see
jobs.
They will see a world without AIDS and maybe without TB.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. Yeah.
And ViiV may be a part of it too.
ViiV, yes, absolutely. Yeah, they're
I
all over
say
the place.
It should be everyone here is a part.
Everyone is part of it. Yeah. No. I mean, I'm quite. To say, I mean, this conference, there are so many sessions that are talking about adolescence, and both from an advocacy perspective as well as there's finally some really top-class research going on in the country. Of course, South Africa, in terms of, I shouldn't really say that, but
we've been supporting both ends, the adolescents, the pediatrics, the CFR grants, and then we're also working for the aging population. Who have special challenges, so it's important to keep both ends very
ends. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you very much, Fred. Thank you.